Hello there, everybody. This is me, and I just wanted to do a review on the last WWE pay-per-view, SummerSlam. Now, I didn't see last year's one, but I've heard about it, and I've just recently watched this year's one, and I must say it's an improvement on last year's, from what I can see, from what I've heard last year's. Now, this year's had a pretty good card. Um, and uh, Having watched it, I thought it was a pretty decent SummerSlam for a change. Like I said, compared to last year's wasn't much cop. So here's the card, and this is basically my review of this year's SummerSlam. The matches, the winners, losers, um, and what happened, and basically short details of the aftermath on Raw and SmackDown, if I can. Right, so first match, Intercontinental title match, Dolph Ziggler versus Kofi Kingston. Now, this started off as a good match. Um, Kofi Kingston, great wrestler, great athlete. Dolph Ziggler, I didn't go much on him, but he's a tough guy. He holds his own. He's a pretty decent wrestler himself. He the match was pretty good. Um, it was going. Ziggler had pretty much the upper hand most of the match, but Kofi did manage to get back into the match. The only thing that did bother me was the fact that Vicky Guerrero being on the outside. I can't stand the woman. Um, but hey ho, that's life. Um, like I said, this was for the IC belt, and Kofi I think would have had the match won if it hadn't been for some outside interference by somebody who shouldn't have even been there in this match. It had nothing to do with it. So I don't know what their problem was. Nexus decided to get involved, and that had a beat down on Kofi. So that one went to a no contest, but it was a reasonable match. So that wasn't the last we would see of Nexus, as you may well have known. Second match, the next match I have on the list. Um, Now we witnessed the return of the lovely diva Melina on on Raw um, the week before, the week of SummerSlam, and she came back with a vengeance, taking out the Divas champion Alicia Fox. Now that led to them having a title match at SummerSlam. Good match, and I must say, um, Alicia Fox, she's one tough lady. She held her own in there, but she was no comparison to the lovely Melina. Melina done the job. She got the job. She's done the job, and she is now the new Divas champion. Unlucky Alicia Fox. Next match. Now, I don't know whether it's just me or whether it's you guys as well. I cannot stand CM Punk and his straight edge society. Does it I don't know about you, but it kind of reminds me of back in the very late 90s or early 2000s of the Right to Censor with Steve and Richard. Remember that stuff? This seems to be the similar sort of thing, and nobody likes it. So why have they done this to CM Punk? Why have they reduced him to doing something like this? But hey ho, the match was a 3-on-1 handicap match. Big Show versus the Straight Edge Society. Now, the week before, from what I could tell, from what I've seen of SmackDown that week, um, they managed the Straight Edge Society took out Big Show's big fist, the punching hand, the one he uses to knock them down. But it didn't really get the job done because at the end of the day, it's going to take more than three guys um, to get the job done against Big Show. At the end of the day, it ended up being just two because CM Punk, like a coward that he is, ended up walking away and leaving the other two guys to it. So it ended up being a Big Show win. Nice one, Big Show. Big thumbs up. Um, and then on the um, SmackDown this past week, CM Punk decided to do uh, basically the weak link would leave Straight Edge Society. So it ended up being he stood up the top of the ramp, and it was basically a tag match. It was mixed tag. It was Big Show and Kelly versus uh, Luke Gallows and Selena. Well, Luke Gallows and Selena won the match. Selena got the pinfall. She's pretty tough. She done well. She held her own in there. I think we might see more of her in the ring in future. So hey ho, moving on. Next match on my list, WWE Championship match. Now this feud has been going on for ages between Randy Orton, the Viper of WWE, and the Celtic Warrior, that is Sheamus. Now Sheamus, he is a tough Irishman. He's put out Triple H, but I'm sure we haven't seen the last of Triple H. He'll be back, and when he does, I think Sheamus should watch himself. Orton, like I said, the Viper. It's in an instant. Orton could just hit you with that RKO. This match was back and forth, great match. Um, truly believe that I think Orton should have would have picked up the title, um, but Sheamus being Sheamus, um, wanted to do anything in his power to keep hold of the WWE Championship because he knew he was going to lose it. So what did he do? He picks up a chair, he goes to use it. The referee trying to stop him, he shoves the referee on his ass, and bam, ring the bell. It's over. But hey ho, Randy wins the match. May not have won the title, but he'll get his time. And trust me, the Viper will get that title. But hey ho, after the match, great stuff. Randy really lost it. Really lost it on Sheamus. Whacked him several times with a chair. Awesome. I've never seen Randy like that, but that is a side to Randy Orton I like. I never used to like Randy Orton, but the guy's grown on me. He's got talent, and he's going far. Next on my list, World Heavyweight Title. I must admit, when I heard that Kane won the Money in the Bank at the previous pay-per-view, the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, I was quite surprised. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting somebody else to win it. But hey ho, long overdue for the Big Red Machine to be able to get something big under his belt like that. And hey ho, same night he cashes it in. Poor Ray, unexpectedly, he beats Swagger at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. He retains the title. Kane says, I can't wait." Goes down, and he cashes it in and picks up the victory at Money in the Bank pay-per-view and becomes the new World Heavyweight Champion. Great for the Big Red Machine, as he hasn't held the title for the last time he held it was about 10 years ago or something. So it was good to know that he done it. Now the reason why this match came about is Kane truly believed that it was Rey Mysterio that took out his brother, The Undertaker. So Kane obviously wanted redemption, and obviously the world title was on the line, and Kane, beginning the match, wheeled a casket down to the edge of the ring, because we all know that Ray he has a fear of confined spaces. So anyway, Kane won the match, and at the end of the match, we saw the long-awaited return of the Undertaker, who popped up out of the casket. Now, it is a slightly weakened Undertaker, and when Kane seen the Taker, he looked at him and then smiled, thinking that, Taker was going to take out the person that took him out. Now, there was a twist in this. Now, some of you might have guessed that probably Kane was the culprit in the first place, but for some of you that may not have known he was the culprit, he was. Taker looks at Ray, gets him down in the corner. Ray pleading for his little life, pleading with the dead man, with the phenom. Wasn't me, Taker. It wasn't me. I'd never do that to you. And I believe the guy. Ray is not as stupid as that. Ray has not got a death wish. I mean, anybody who chooses to try and take out the Undertaker has got a death wish, in my opinion. So, when Taker stands up, he does his usual cutthroat thinking, and Kane looking at him thinking, yeah, finish him off, give him that tombstone. Taker looks right at his brother, and that's when you know that Kane was the culprit. Taker goes up to him, goes to give him the chokeslam. Kane stronger, Taker still weakened. But these two, trust me, Kane apparently on SmackDown said that he had plotted this for 10 years to do that to the Undertaker and take him out of the game. Well, sorry, Big Red Monster, I like you and all, but I've always liked the Undertaker, and I will always remain a true, loyal Taker fan. Now, don't get me wrong, when these two meet again, I'm still going to be slightly torn. Granted, I'm quite glad that, on one hand, I'm glad that Kane is the World Heavyweight Champion because he deserves it. He has worked his butt off for quite a few years now and without nothing. So I'm quite pleased that he is the World Heavyweight Champion. And at the same time, I'm also pleased that Taker has had his title shots like he should have had, because I believe that this is last year. I think if anybody is to retire the Undertaker, it will be Kane. I mean, come on, you've got to agree with me on that one. I think Kane is the only one that is worthy of retiring his brother. And I think that that's what they're going to work up to, is that Kane will retire the Undertaker and Kane will take over the legacy. I don't think Kane will be as good. I mean, he ain't going to be nowhere near as good at WrestleMania as what the Dead Man is. But I believe that Taker will get his revenge. So Kane better watch himself. And then we go to the main event. We go to Team WWE versus those rookies, the Nexus. Now, don't get me wrong, the Nexus are a good, tough group. But they are so arrogant, so full of themselves, thinking they are the next big things. Maybe a couple of them might be. Some of them are tough guys. They can hold their own. And, in the weeks prior leading up to it, with Team WWE, we saw Jericho walking out. We saw Edge walking out, thinking that, that Nexus has got this in the bag. Nexus thought they had this in the bag at SummerSlam, because they thought, well, these two guys, Edge and Jericho, they're out of the picture. We don't need to worry about them. So they obviously thought it was going to be 7-on-5. Think again. I mean, even I'm not stupid enough to think that Edge and Jericho were just going to, walk off. It was just a ploy to make Nexus think that they were going to have the upper hand. And boy, did it backfire on them. And just because they took the biggest